2018 GSL Season 3. This is Rockshear.
Damn right. We're back at the GSL Codas. We just wrapped up our first best of 3. It was a 2-0 commanding performance there by Classic.
Yes.
Of course, Reynor is not out of this yet. He still has a chance to get out of this group.
Sure.
Still has a chance to go on to the round of 16. But now we shift our attention over to Ryung versus sOs.
Yeah, and I think that this match is actually one that could be very interesting here tonight. If you look at stylistically the way that these two play this matchup, sOs, ever the trickster, the crazy player that he is, but Ryung is a very kind of tricky, strategic player. He's someone who will do things like hide cloak Banshee or put Widow Mines in very interesting locations, have specific timings planned. I tell you, he's definitely not a macro beast like Innovation that's going to run you over late game with a bunch of units. He's going to have to get his damage in early, but when someone like sOs is taking risks as well and doing offbeat strategies, sometimes a player like Ryung can match up well against that if the right strategy comes out.
So going into this, I think it's going to be a very uphill fight for Ryung. The odds are definitely against him. sOs is probably one of the brainiest players ever in StarCraft 2, StarCraft 1, doesn't matter. He just really, really knows how to manipulate. Well, it's not just that, he knows how to manipulate every aspect of the game, from the information he shows his opponents to the way he randomizes his builds, the all-ins he does sometimes. I mean, sOs can play any kind of game, whereas I think Ryung is much more limited. He's a little bit easier to typecast as a player.
All right. So, I mean, obviously, everyone's thinking
16-bit.
about sOs doing it. Yeah,
For game 1, cool.
nice. It's kind of interesting there. Atlas, I think we're not going to really see that until the round of 4. I have a feeling.
I think you're probably right. Our game is loading up. This is another best of 3. Classic waits in the winner's match. Reynor in the loser's match. And this is game 1 now. Ryung versus sOs.
Match 1. Fight. Cascade Esports. Ryung.
Hasn't shown the greatest results recently, but definitely keeping up for him.
Jin Air Green Wings. sOs.
The two-time world champion has yet to win a GSL Codas.
Yeah, he's been in the finals a couple times.
Which is weird. It's funny.
Yeah.
Because there are players that, you know, can win everything else but can't quite pull it off in this tournament. And, you know, with the domination that Maro's had, basically the uncontested domination that Maro's had in this GSL, you got to wonder, is sOs going to have to kick the can down the road and go to next year and try there?
Yeah, it's a good question there.
sOs support.
Well, that would be too funny if he loses to Maru in the finals. Because if you look at, like, he gets to the finals and then a horseman beats him. He lost to Pyun in the finals, he lost to Innovation in the finals. Maru is kind of a favorite at this point. Imagine that. Imagine that moment if he loses. Then we know TY's winning the next GSL, you know? Well, the next time that SOS is in form at least, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not the next one, but yeah.
So we do have a proxy going on right outside of Ryung's base, and Ryung is currently taking a quick command center. And a lot of times, if you're taking a very quick command center, that's going to be good for the guy who's proxying, generally speaking.
I was wondering if... Oh, he recalls. That's funny to use a recall here when you have 2 gates. Like, I know a probe is important, but it feels like Chronoboost is too.
First GSL. Hopefully it's not your last, friend.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he missed it. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Wow, 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 wow. There is a Zod across the map as well right now.
Okay, well now, just from the angling of that, Ryung's going to know what's coming up here.
Well, geez, there's only a Reaper, and he's building an add-on right now, so like...
Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, SOS not fazed by that at all.
No, doesn't care at all.
Yeah, the Stalker can, of course, also try to kill the SCV that's making the bunker here.
Gosh. Well, he's going to have to sacrifice a bunch of SCVs, I guess. That's just the way it goes.
I think this could actually just get a lot worse as well here.
Well, there is a Cyclone on the way. It's going to be a bit, though. He's got to sit here and repair everything and keep on putting on new SCVs to build the bunker because they take so long.
Really good control here. Now the bunker's almost finished. Oh, another one's taken out. Another SCV. This is really starting to add up here, guys.
Is it over, though? I think it is.
I believe so, but there were a lot of SCVs killed. Even more mining time lost there.
The Nexus just started.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this actually end up working out, right? Because it's not like there's tech for SOS. He's behind on tech. I almost feel like he did this build looking to hit a command center first. Because you have the inside base. Maybe he thought that Ryung would do something like that. Maybe not, but like when you look at the overall damage, I don't think it's as bad for Ryung as it felt when we were watching him lose a bunch of SCVs in mining time. Because look, he just starts his tech here. He just starts his Nexus. So the actual worker count is going to get pretty evened out. And then you also have mules there and you have the additional tech. So Ryung is the next one that gets to do some harassment. And maybe that'll do damage, maybe it won't. But this doesn't seem unplayable for Ryung by any means.
So we have Stalker Blink being upgraded. Now, Ryung is still pinned in his base, but he's kind of okay with that because he's actually getting a very, he got that very quick expand up, so there's nothing to incentivize him from pushing out. The Reaper's going to come through here and actually get some pretty decent scouting.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially with that catch there.
Oh, that was really good, actually.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, he's going to abuse this Adept Shade.
Really nice.
And this is just, again, keeping Ryung honest here. And as Blink continues, gosh, SOS, I feel like a lot of times we talk about how brilliant he is in his builds and the fact that he knows all these bizarre situations exactly, but tactically, he's just really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like
he makes everything work for him.
Yeah, he's just making, apparently that's just out of tank range, by the way. He's just barely eking out a little bit of damage here or there. He's really keeping his opponent honest. You can see Ryung now realizes he has to move that tank up. So some of those Stalkers are bruised. There's a third Nexus on the way, and that might be where SOS can actually start to get, I would say, a more concrete edge over here.
And well, the third command center starts up as well, so those are almost evenly timed, a little bit quicker on the Nexus, but look at those workers again, right? He did kill another couple workers from that harass, but they were going to be at about a very similar worker supply.
Yeah.
Ryung has decent tech. SOS, he's getting Blink, so that's very useful, but I can't foresee him really doing any damage right now. In fact, he's not even making a Prism. He's just kind of making some observers, figuring out what's going on.
You got to wonder, though, is he might be able to do something like pressure the third base from being taken and then maybe try to Blink up there using that observer?
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, if he doesn't have it, though.
Prism now being made. Probably get into some forages pretty quickly here, I would imagine.
You would think so, right? A few more gates being thrown down here. If he doesn't get any forges, we have to assume he's not really invested in a long game here.
Yeah, if he doesn't...
And I just want to point out, SOS does do weird stuff like that, so let's keep our minds open to that.
Yeah, I mean, 2 forges in their upgrades, man. That's a lot of Stalkers you could make.
Yeah, okay, here comes the 2 forges.
Okay. Yeah, it would be kind of weird to make a third Nexus and then no 2 forges. It's like, oh no, this is a very complex all-in where I hit when he's 2 upgrades above me.
Yeah.
So charge is on the way and all that good stuff. His upgrades will be able to catch up to Ryung's due to Chrono, and just looks like everything's going to normalize.
Yeah. So initially, SOS had an army that could harass and poke. He's now going to develop into an army that can really fight, but not before first doing that harass and poke that we're seeing come in here right now. Now, this is pretty well positioned from the Cyclone to where the tank is.
Yeah.
And I don't think he could have stood his ground over there.
Now he knows where the gateway is.
Yeah, it's no longer a mystery how that Stalker got there.
I think actually he might have seen it earlier, but anyways, going to be able to take that out very easily. SOS can't really do too much right now. In fact, I think he's going to take a 4th base at this point. He kind of sees what Ryung's up to. He's taking his 3rd base. He's invested pretty heavily in some tech units. It's not like he's going to get aggressive anytime soon. Oh, look at that.
Wow. And you know what? At the last second, Ryung decides this isn't an area that he has to be concerned about. So we're going to have another drop come in here, and he's not targeting that Warp Prism. So this Warp is going to come in.
Ooh. It seems like there might have been a little bit of a
Oh, my God. He's coming in on this angle as well.
Well, best time to attack is when you just started 1-1, right?
Yeah, apparently. He can do another warp in here, and I don't believe that he can hold both these locations. Another massive warp in here. It's still, Ryung has not denied that warp prism. And look at this, he's going to back up a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of moving those zealots up right there and forcing the command center to lift off. Oh God, he comes right up the ramp. But
notice he's not overextending here. Well, 24 SCVs were killed back there. Look at this, 1-1 just now finishing for Ryung, all after that damage had been done.
That's kind of brutal that he lost 24 SCVs here.
Mm-hmm.
This really feels like a super good position right now for SOS. Like, the economy of Ryung just so crippled at this point. Like, I still felt he was fine until that move right there. But a good little double-pronged harassment. You know, he moves the siege tank out, he moves the cyclone out, he's bringing all of his forces to the front, and SOS just kind of sniffed that out. Pounced immediately.
Okay, so 1-1 is done. For Protoss, of course.
Yeah.
And he's going to get Storm. And I got to emphasize again, the fact of the matter is that SOS went in there, he did a ton of damage the moment he saw that opening. It seemed almost like he was just looking for any opportunity. It wasn't like that was mapped out, like, oh, they always move their tank out of their second base.
Yeah.
He just looked at it and said, oh, okay, you're not in position. And went in there and did a ton of damage. And he never overextended.
No, he really didn't.
I believe even the Warp Prism got out, right?
I think it did.
Yeah.
Well, whether it did or not, like, it almost doesn't even matter. He did so much damage in there. He reduced the army somewhat and killed that many SCVs. Ryung's starting to push out a little bit. He even floated his command center from his third base, that front natural, back into his main. So he's kind of playing a little bit timidly right now, while SOS just kind of chronoing, trying to get Storm 2-2, his fourth base.
Okay, he's all inning. And I got to say, this could not be worse as far as the timing goes, because Storm is finished just now.
Yeah, and I bet you those are 2 High Templars in that prism.
They are.
And you hit 2 Storms on that army reasonably well. I don't think it's going to go very well. Ooh, that's actually really nice. Let's see what these Storms can do. Look at that micro from Ryung. He's really trying to get away from it. Wow.
Did he actually do it? Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, another great Storm. They're going to melt a decent amount of that army. The Widowmines are burrowed up here.
Well, he can lose his 4th base and still be completely fine, because Ryung is actually on 2 active bases right now. He's only got 20 workers.
It's also, you got to keep in mind, it's those workers that were pulled. I mean, Ryung's down to 20 workers here. He basically needs to make this work, like, right now.
Exactly. And, you know, as 2-2 finishes here for SOS, I feel like an attack move is going to be able to do it, you know?
I think you might be right. Armor's done. 5 seconds from now, weapons is going to be done for Protoss as well.
Yeah, he's just waiting for those upgrades, and he can pounce at any time now.
Okay, he's going to do one more warp in, and then just go for it.
Yeah, he has plenty of Stalkers to be able to remove these, and I mean, another nice anti-armor missile, but should not end up being enough. 2-2 upgrades really kicking in now.
There's just too much.
Yeah, this attack actually was a little bit scary there for a moment, but the 2 Storms were just enough to hold it off so that he could get his 2-2.
You basically need to do that attack before Storm finishes, and a lot of times you'll then have killed off their army where they don't have, even if they have the Templars later on, there's nothing else there, and you can kind of wave in the rest of your army and crush them, but ill-timed there by Ryung, and so SOS easily takes game 1.
Yeah. But yeah, Ryung's attack at the end, he did make it scary for a moment at least. And I don't think that game 2 necessarily has to look very much like that. SOS looking all the mad scientists right now. This is kind of an interesting set of outfits we have where everyone's in black with some red tones, like some red highlights or something. The evil lumberjack SOS.
Okay, we're going to go to Catalyst and see what exactly Ryung and SOS have in store right now. Again, Classic awaits in the winner's match. One of these 2 is about to go up and face off against him for that fight to be the first player to move on to the round of 16 in this season of the GSL Code S.
Match 2, fight. Cascade Esports, Ryung. Jin Air Green Wings, SOS.
Okay. SOS with a quick scout over here. I think SOS is going to be feeling very confident after that first game. That's sort of how it's supposed to look, though, right, with SOS versus Ryung. Ryung is a very, very talented player, and he's been around for a long time. He's really a veteran. I think one of the most veteran players of the GSL.
For sure, yeah.
And he's pretty much always, or almost always, in the top 32 players in the world. That's why we see him all the time.
Yeah.
That being said, there is a ceiling, it appears, for how far he can go in any recent GSLs.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago or so, and he had a really big burst of skills suddenly, and he had a very good showing.
Did very well in IEM 2 years ago in Poland.
I mean, Ryung sometimes shows some brilliance and really steps it up. You know, it was one game against SOS, so I don't want to oversell it. You know, SOS is also a player that no matter how good you are or how well you prepare, he might just kill you anyways.
Well, that's the scary thing, is SOS can and has beaten everybody.
Yes. Will continue to as well, I think. He puts the command center in his main base, which isn't really that common.
Yeah, I think he knows that SOS is a guy that, you know, he surveys your base, and subtly algorithms are set off in his mind that he's following to try to directly counter. So he just wants to hide as much as possible. Well, although I think it's more ideal to have it just at the expansion, you know?
Yeah, but SOS right now, 2 probes just checking everywhere. He thinks there's a proxy right now.
So on some level, that scout trick actually kind of worked.
It really did.
SOS thought, okay, what are you up to? What are you up to?
He's playing very carefully.
Yeah.
He's making a couple of depths that's, you know, doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing carefully. If you think there's a proxy factory, a lot of times you'll make some stalkers and whatnot. But 2 gates being added. Was this the original plan? I think that's a fair question right now.
You know, he's not getting much of a read on anything. He sees that factory.
I wish the Shine would go down with the observer a little bit and see exactly how close that command center is, if he can see that or not.
I believe he cannot see it.
Think not? Yeah, I think you're right.
Positive.
I think you're right, yeah. So that definitely matters. Oh, look at this move.
Oh, this is funny. Ah, get in!
Gonna wreck some.
Oh,
wait,
wow. Oh, he messed it up.
He canceled it.
Maybe he knew that the Cyclone would come out and then actually kill his adepts.
I guess so. Being very careful about it, but a proxy pylon here.
For just a split second, because SOS, I thought he was making a Nexus there. For just a second, I'm like, oh, he's so weird. What is this?
Oh, no, that would be too much for me.
I'm like, that's not a thing.
My brain would cease to work correctly at that point. Okay, so Reactor Cyclone's coming out right now. A Robo on the way and a proxy pylon.
Ooh, he might end up
to
drawing
make
him
stalkers.
Into the pylon. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, 2 adepts and 3 stalkers is pretty scary, but once you have the 3 cyclones out, you'll be all right. Thing is, if he can reduce this cyclone count, if he can kill this 1 cyclone and these marines.
Yeah, he needs to curb that momentum.
Yeah.
So the probe might come in here first, try to draw a few shots.
Oh, look at this, the shade forward.
Okay, 3 cyclones are out.
Oh.
But he gets, yes, he does get 1.
Oh, he actually lets the shade finish. I don't think he meant to do that. He was having to pull away at that moment as well. So some fancy micro right now.
He gets another one.
Oh my gosh.
SOS's control is too good.
Yeah.
Look at this, sniping down the 1 remaining Marine. Okay, he's actually going to do it, man. Look at this.
Jeez, that is a lot right now. A lot of SCVs being pulled. These stalkers dealing serious damage.
Jeez, he knows exactly when to run away. Okay, he's going to advance a little bit further here. If he can get this SCV making the bunker.
Oh, man. It gets more and more painful here. Concussive shells on the way. Ryung just trying to stay alive at this point. Does finish the bunker, so that can definitely help.
Yeah.
More stalkers
incoming.
incoming.
GG.
Oh,
SOS
man.
takes it 2-0. He's just so good with that control. You can see he knew exactly how long the stalker could stay there. Obviously, he's mathed out exactly how many stalker shots everything takes to kill.
Yeah.
So he never overextended. You can see there were moments Ryung thought, all right, I've got the right units. And then SOS says, yeah, you have the right unit at this moment, but I can actually hold my ground. There was a few of these stalkers. There was never that critical mass of units that you can have to kind of drive a bunch of stalkers out. And stalkers, they don't actually attack that fast. So when you have enough against them, they don't do anywhere near as much damage.
I tell you, that was like, there was a lot of little things SOS did as well, like sending his initial adepts out. He made it so that you couldn't, that Ryung couldn't rather, switch the reactor for the factory. He wanted one Marine into reactored Cyclones. I feel like that would have held.
We're going to a break. When we come back, Classic versus SOS.